From getting shot to being trapped by a ghost, our worst dreams usually tap into our deepest fears and anxieties. But there's a reason they keep showing up. I'm Mike with List 25, and here are the 25 most common nightmares and their meanings. 25. Why do we dream about losing teeth? If you've ever had a dream where your teeth crumble, fall out, or even get pulled, you're not alone. It's one of the most common nightmares out there. I've had it several times. Experts believe these dreams are connected to our anxieties when it comes to appearance and self-image. Teeth play a major role in eating, speaking, and how we present ourselves to others. Losing them in a dream may reflect feelings of insecurity, embarrassment, or a loss of control in your life. Some interpretations also suggest that dreams about losing teeth are linked to powerlessness. They may point to a drop in confidence or a fear of being judged by others. 24. When you're being chased. Nightmares about being chased stem from real-life fears or anxieties, especially ones we try to avoid. Whatever's chasing you in the dream could symbolize stress, fear, or even emotions you haven't fully processed. It might be a stranger, a monster, or something unknown, but the feeling is always the same: fear and the desperate urge to escape. Dream researcher Michael Schredel explains that no matter how fast you run, it always feels like they're right behind you, just like the fears we push aside in real life. So if this dream keeps coming back, it might be time to face whatever's chasing you. 23. When you can't find a toilet. Have you ever had a dream where you desperately needed a bathroom but couldn't find one? Some say these nightmares reveal a difficulty in expressing a person's personal needs. It might come from always putting others first or feeling like you never have time for yourself. Some interpretations even link it to a need for privacy, self-care, or emotional release. So if this is you, take some time out for a bit of R&R and make sure your own needs aren't getting flushed away. 22. Being naked in public. Okay, I know most of us have had this dream in some way, shape, or form. Experts think these dreams can be associated with our fears of embarrassment, insecurity, or being judged. If a secret recently came to light or you felt put on the spot, your subconscious might be playing out that discomfort. Some experts also link it to dishonesty. You might be hiding something and are afraid of being found out. At any rate, this dream usually is a sign that you're feeling more exposed than you'd like, whether emotionally or literally. 21. Failing an exam. Have you ever dreamt you were sitting in front of a test that you didn't study for? Or worse, one you didn't even know was happening? Exam nightmares can feel so real that you wake up convinced you actually failed. These dreams are usually tied to stress, especially school or work related, and they can pop up years after graduating. But don't panic. This doesn't mean you're actually unprepared. More often than not, it's just a sign that you're putting too much pressure on yourself. 20. Flying nightmares. Struggling to take off, losing control mid-air, or being too afraid to fly might mean something is holding you back in real life. Some experts think this dream reflects a difficulty in reaching your goals or feeling stuck in a situation. If you're alone and struggling to stay in the air, it could also point to a lack of confidence in your own abilities. Whatever the case may be, this dream usually signals frustration with where you are versus where you want to be. 19. Nightmares about falling. Falling nightmares are usually tied to feelings of insecurity or anxiety. According to the experts, these dreams are tied to the fear of losing control, whether in your personal life, career, or relationships. If the fall feels terrifying, it might signal uncertainty about a situation you're facing. But if you're calm, or even enjoy the fall, it could mean you're embracing the change rather than fearing it. Either way, these dreams mirror how we handle life's ups and downs. Sometimes we fight the fall, and sometimes we just go with it. 18. Losing control of a vehicle. Nightmares about losing control of a car, whether the brakes fail, the steering stops working, or you crash, usually reflects anxieties about where your life is heading. If you're the one driving but can't control the car, it might mean you're feeling overwhelmed or powerless. If someone else is behind the wheel, it could suggest that another person is making big decisions for you. It's a frustrating dream, but it might be your mind's way of telling you it's time to take back control, both on and off the road. 17. Being trapped or lost. This nightmare is common for a reason. Feeling lost is something we've all been through at some point. A common interpretation is that it ties back to uncertainty about where your life is heading or a deep need for direction. If you're searching for something in your dream but can't find it, It might mean you're craving change, but feeling overwhelmed by what comes next. 16. When you're late. Few dreams are as stressful as realizing you're late, whether it's for an exam, a flight, or something important you can't quite place. That frantic rush, the ticking clock, the sinking feeling. This nightmare can mirror the fear of falling behind in life. It might show up when you're feeling pressure to meet expectations, or when you're worried about running out of time to accomplish something important. It's also common before big events, especially when there's a lot on the line. If it keeps happening, find ways to de-stress before bed. You'll rest easier and wake up feeling much better. 15. Dreams of being suffocated. From an invisible force pressing on your chest to being trapped in small, airless spaces or struggling underwater, these dreams can be absolutely terrifying. And strangely enough, researchers have found a strong connection between suffocation nightmares and real-life stress. A study published in Frontiers in Psychology found that people with anxiety or sleep disorders like sleep apnea tend to have these dreams more often. So if you keep waking up from dreams where you can't breathe, it might be a good idea to check on your sleep health, just to be sure everything's okay. 14. Catching fire. Fire is a powerful symbol, and dreaming about something going up in flames can be just as intense. Some believe these dreams are a warning, signaling that a change in your life could bring unexpected challenges. Psychoanalyst Carl Jung saw fire as a sign of transformation, meaning this dream could indicate a major shift ahead. Whether that shift is good or bad depends on the details of the dream. Unless, of course, you're dreaming that you're the Human Torch, Johnny Storm. That could be different. 13. Getting shot. Nightmares about getting shot tend to leave a lasting impression, right? A popular take on it is that these dreams are simply your brain replaying something you recently saw, a violent movie, a news story, or even a conversation that stuck with you. But sometimes they hint at something deeper. Some believe they symbolize feeling targeted in real life, whether that's from pressure, criticism, or conflict. And while not every dream about getting shot carries hidden meaning, its intensity suggests your mind is processing something significant, whether you realize it or not. 12. Tornadoes. Just like a tornado sweeps through without warning, this dream could symbolize a situation in your life that feels chaotic or beyond your control. Even the color of the tornado can carry meaning. Some interpretations suggest that white tornadoes relate to personal transformation, red to anger, and black to fear or deep uncertainty. Whatever the finer details, one thing is certain: this nightmare is all about turbulence. 11. Drowning. Dreams of drowning have been around as long as people have had stress, and that's not changing anytime soon. Many believe this nightmare is linked to feeling overwhelmed, whether it's from work, personal responsibilities, or emotions that seem impossible to manage. Just like being pulled underwater, these dreams can reflect situations where you feel like you're struggling to keep your head above it all. If drowning dreams keep happening, it might be a sign to step back, reassess your workload, and make room for a little breathing space, literally and figuratively. 10. Being attacked. Maybe we're looking at this the wrong way. Instead of asking why this dream is so terrifying, maybe we should ask why it happens so often. And the answer can probably be found in our fears. Experts are split on what this nightmare could mean. Some believe it's rooted in the fear of real-life situations, while others think the attacker represents something more symbolic, like stress, conflict, or an unresolved fear that's weighing on you. Either way, this specific nightmare seems to have a way of bringing hidden fears to the surface. 9. Insect nightmares. Bug infestation dreams became increasingly common during the pandemic. Interpretations of them seem to vary. Studies suggest they represent guilt, minor irritations, or nagging worries that might be creeping up on you. Others have linked them to health concerns, which could explain why so many people reported these nightmares at a time when illness was on everyone's mind. 8. When you're trapped in a dream. Though it might sound unusual, this is a surprisingly common nightmare. Some believe it's linked to avoidance, your mind's way of telling you there's something you need to confront, whether it's a situation, a person, or an emotion you've been pushing aside. Others suggest that dreaming about being trapped reflects a real-life sense of feeling stuck. So whether it's career worries, personal struggles, or the fear of being unable to move forward, this nightmare is mirroring what's weighing on you when you're awake. 7. Earthquakes. Many believe earthquake dreams symbolize instability and upheaval in real life. They often show up during times of uncertainty, major life changes, or emotional turmoil. The ground beneath you is supposed to be solid, so when it starts to crack and shift in a dream, it might be reflecting feelings of insecurity or loss of control. Some interpretations even suggest that surviving an earthquake in a dream could represent resilience, the ability to navigate chaos and come out stronger. The real question is, what's crumbling around you and what needs rebuilding? 6. An evil presence. In the 6th spot on today's list, let's talk about nightmares that aren't just terrifying because of what you see, but because of what you feel. Psychologists believe that nightmares of an evil presence might not be about external threats at all. Instead, they could be reflections of repressed parts of ourselves, powerful emotions or traits we've been taught to suppress. Rather than something haunting you, your mind could be forcing you to confront something you've ignored for too long. So while it feels like something's coming for you, maybe it's really pushing something out of you, something that needs to be acknowledged and understood. 5. Natural disasters. Have you ever had a dream where a tsunami is rushing toward you, a wildfire is closing in, or an earthquake is tearing everything apart? You're not alone. Disaster dreams show up in about 4.5% of nightmares, studied by dream researcher Michael Schredel. Some psychologists believe these dreams reflect general anxiety about the future, and according to Stanford's Dr. Antonio Corelli, how you interpret these dreams may depend on whether you see upcoming life changes as positive or negative. Either way, they serve as a reminder that even in our sleep, our minds are trying to make sense of what's coming next. 4. Fights or disagreements. Have you ever thrown a punch in your dream only for it to land like you're swinging through water? Or maybe you've been stuck in a heated argument that never quite resolves. Some believe these dreams serve as a trial run, a safe way for your brain to rehearse a conflict before it happens. Others suggest they're an emotional pressure valve, allowing pent-up frustration to surface, especially if you struggle to express anger in real life. If the fight is with someone specific, it could also be tied to unresolved issues or lingering resentment. Even Freud had a take on it, arguing that what happens in dreams reflects real-life struggles, but in a distorted, symbolic way. So if you keep finding yourself in dream fights, well, maybe it's time to ask, is there a battle you're avoiding when you're awake? 3. Sickness and death. Health-related nightmares land right in the middle of the most commonly reported bad dreams and show up in 11.6% of cases. Some dreamers report watching themselves or a loved one fall ill, while others experience the nightmare of witnessing a slow decline or even death. According to Healthline, these dreams can stem from a general fear of sickness, a sense of losing control over personal well-being, or it can even be the mind's way of processing grief. In many cases, they're not just about illness or death, they're about the fear of losing control over what matters most. 2. Seeing a monster or a ghost. For some experts, monsters or ghosts represent unresolved emotions or past regrets that still haunt the dreamers. Dreaming of being chased by a ghost could mean you're avoiding something that needs closure, while speaking with a spirit might suggest a longing for guidance or unfinished business. In some cases, these kinds of dreams could also be tapping into cultural fears. Psychologists believe that these dreams can also be a reflection of inner conflicts, part of yourself you've suppressed, or emotions you haven't fully processed. 1. Dreaming of failure. Taking the number 1 spot on today's list is a nightmare that comes in many forms: failure, helplessness, and the crushing fear of not measuring up. The dream researcher, Michael Schredel, found that 18% of nightmares fall into this category, covering everything from being late or lost to making a critical mistake at the worst possible moment. The common thread? These dreams often reflect insecurity, whether it's about your abilities, how others perceive you, or an underlying fear of falling short. Whether you're struggling to speak, forgetting something important, or simply unable to succeed, these nightmares seem to tap into one universal fear: not being good enough. And that's a wrap. But before you go, here's a trivia question for you. In a dream about being naked in public, what is the most common interpretation? A, a sign of upcoming success, B, a fear of embarrassment or judgment, C, a warning about financial troubles, or D, a prediction of future events? Let me know your guess in the comments below. And if you want to keep the weirdness going, check out our related video, 25 Ransom Facts That'll Break Your Brain, where I discuss that time a translator nearly caused an international incident and the very bizarre drinks made from human tears. Whew, that one was full of surprises. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss any content, and I will check you guys out next time. No, I won't. I'll see you next time. You'll check me out next. Oh, that just sounded better in my head. I'm out.